The celebration was louder than I expected. Someone popped a bottle of cheap champagne, and the foam sprayed across the television that displayed our launch results. Balloons floated around the office while music played through the speakers. Everyone cheered because our new platform had gone live without a single major problem. I stood quietly in the corner holding a cup of warm water. For 2 years I had worked nights, weekends, and holidays building the data infrastructure that made the launch possible. While everyone else celebrated, I realized something painful. Almost nobody remembered who had actually built it. My manager, Vance, walked over wearing his usual expensive suit and confident smile. He patted me on the shoulder. "Great work," he said casually. "Unfortunately, management has decided to freeze all post-launch bonuses because of budget changes. I know you'll understand then." He grabbed a piece of cake and walked away. I stared after him in disbelief. That bonus wasn't a luxury. It was the reward I had been promised for sacrificing countless weekends to keep the project alive. Vance thought the conversation was over. He had forgotten one important detail. Months earlier, I had personally negotiated our software agreement with the outside vendor that supplied the platform's core technology. During those negotiations, I worked closely with both legal teams to make sure every responsibility and compensation requirement was clearly documented. One section of the agreement stated that the company had to maintain the agreed compensation for the technical lead responsible for the license system. If that obligation was intentionally violated, the vendor had the right to suspend the license until the issue was resolved. The clause existed to protect both the vendor and the engineers responsible for maintaining the platform. At the time, nobody questioned it. Now it suddenly mattered. I returned to my desk and finished every assignment waiting in my inbox. I answered every message politely. I generated every report management requested. No one could accuse me of being unprofessional. Before leaving that evening, I sent a short email to our legal department asking them to review the licensing agreement in light of the company's recent compensation decision. Then I went home. Monday morning arrived with the usual excitement following a successful product launch. Management presented a polished report filled with impressive charts and performance numbers. Many of those charts had come directly from my work. My name appeared nowhere in the presentation. Instead, Vance and several executives accepted congratulations for the project's success. I remained silent. Around lunchtime, a few senior engineers began asking questions. In the internal support channel, someone had noticed a warning related to the platform's licensing status. Another engineer asked whether the vendor had confirmed final compliance after launch. The conversation quickly became tense. Later that afternoon, our chief legal officer, Clara, called an emergency meeting with Vance and Human Resources. Although I wasn't invited, Clara had already read my email. She requested a copy of the original agreement. From my desk, I could see people inside the conference room studying the contract page by page. Vance kept waving his hands as though the problem couldn't possibly be serious. Clara remained calm. Finally, she looked directly at him. "The compensation terms are part of the licensing agreement," she explained. "If